Got people waiting for brother Lou Brown. I remember Lou as we're getting cranked up here. It takes a few minutes for people to log on. Lou, when I got your products, I don't know, back in 2004, I'm just like looking at you like this. Now, I mean, like this mega star, and I just it's amazing how I can actually hang out with you, but I think it's more or less on who I have become as opposed to
That's right.
what I've done.
Yeah, I haven't changed at all. It's only you that's changed.
And you know what? You are right, Lou. You're right. You've been doing it forever, and it's almost like we have to come to your level.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, I got some good stuff for you, no doubt about it.
This is so cool. Okay, so we'll do a quick keynote, you and I back and forth, and then we will do some Q&A, and people come on and they'll ask you questions from around the country and around the world. To be frank, we got a lot of
Yay.
people
Yay.
watching around the world. Missing out my email tags. This thing takes forever. Lou Brown,
Yeah, baby.
welcome to my Monday Masters Roundup family. Good afternoon, Roundup family. Good afternoon. I'm going to give a few moments here for everybody to log on. Wow, we're in the presence of a master Roundup family. You know your boy. My name is Chris Haskins. I am a real estate investor slash entrepreneur. My mission, my ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Today, every Monday, I do a Monday Masters program. It allows me to give back. You give me the opportunity to pour into your life, and I get to share the people that have changed the trajectory of my life. And today, I've got a master, Lou Brown. What's going on, my friend?
Yeah, baby. Chris, you're awesome. Man, you have taken this thing and run with it. You are doing so great in real estate. I love it. I've been in this game for over 40 years, buying, selling, and holding property. I love it. I bought my first house when I was 18 years old, and I came from the other side of the tracks, if you know what I mean. I was raised by a single mom.
Mhm.
I was raised in apartments. I didn't even live in a house till I bought my first house when I was 18.
Oh, my Lord.
It's a beautiful thing. And then
Mm,
I got to realize that we could have financial mastery because you see, my mom, she didn't understand money. She didn't understand money at all. God love her soul. She was a wonderful person. She was a volunteer. She gave of herself. She gave to the community. She gave to everybody except herself. And one of the
mm.
things that she taught me was about being a volunteer, about giving back, about helping other folks. But one of the things she never did learn was about money.
Mm.
She thought money was something to be spent, and if you didn't have it, you spent it anyway. she she would get hooked up. She got hooked up with all kinds of loan sharks. I'm talking 22% interest. I'm
Mm.
talking about nonsense. Now, of course, I'm a kid, single mom. Now, my mom came over on the Queen Mary. She was a war bride. She came from Scotland during the
Mm.
war, and so the big thing was that she got to this country with a new American trooper husband. She found out he was an alcoholic and an abuser. She had to get rid of him, and here she was in this country with no relatives at all. It was a scene.
Wow.
And then she met my father, her second mistake. So, so,
Why do you say that?
that didn't work out either. So it ended up just being the two of us from time I was 3 years old on. I never saw my father again. I only talked to him when I was an adult one time, but that was
Wow.
it. That was it. So they did not stay together at all. There was no support. There was no like background, anything that we could do. So
Mm.
as a result, it just did not go well for either one of us in terms of really having any support. So I had no brothers, no sisters, no cousins, no uncles, no
Good
aunts, no
gracious.
grandparents, nobody except the two of us. And the good news was that I met my mom's friends. I called them aunts and uncles, and I had one of Aunt Mabel.
Uh-huh.
And Aunt Mabel taught me at 8 years old. She says, we bought the duplex we live in. And she
Nice.
said, the people on the other side are paying enough money to cover the rent. And my 8 year
Wow.
old ears heard, they ain't paying no rent.
Oh, I
So
like that.
here we are hiding out from the rent man and not answering the door when the rent man is banging. And here's Aunt Mabel living for free. And that's
Wow.
when I learned that there was parallel universes, right? I learned that there was people with knowledge that were able to do something with that knowledge, and then there was people that did not have the knowledge. Well, obviously my mother did not have the knowledge, but I said, I'm going to listen to Aunt Mabel. Well, sure enough, next year she bought the duplex next door, and she told me the people on one side paid enough money to cover the mortgage, and the other money was theirs. And then she bought another one and another one and another one, right to, all on the same street that she lived on. Talk
Wow.
about target marketing, right? So so she just kept buying them from burned out landlords right on the same street. And then she called me one day. I never will forget. She said, come on over here and help us move. I said, move where? She said, a
Hmm.
brand new house in a brand new subdivision, all brick, 2-story house. And I said, man, I said, how did you do this? And she
Hmm.
said two words that changed my life completely. She said, accumulate property, accumulate property. And that was the big thing that triggered in my mind. Okay, if she can have a life like this, they were going on cruises. She
Wow.
didn't like to cook. They went out to the steakhouse every night. She said, I said, man, this is so good. And she had two chihuahuas, and I'm saying, she used to bring leftovers home. I said, Aunt Mabel, bow wow, honey. I'm ready. I'm,
Dog.
I'll just take
Dog's
you.
even better.
I'll just be
Dog's even
another
better.
dog for you. I'll just eat your leftovers, baby. But it really taught me that somebody can go ahead and just take some steps in real estate and have this lifestyle of residual income. So I
Mm.
got the idea of residual income being the place to be, and it excited me. And I said, okay, that's all I got to do is learn how to do this. And at 18 years old, she said, you got to buy a house. You need to buy a house. And I said, Aunt Mabel, you go to banks and qualify for loans. I can't qualify my way out of a paper bag. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
And she said something that just was so remarkable. She said, well, I don't know, but meet my friend Realtor Sue. Maybe she can figure it out. So, sure enough, back in the day, they had a thing called NENQ loans. That's non escalating, non qualifying loans. So, what that means is that you could, for $45, I came in at 18 years old, I took over somebody else's loan, and
Hmm.
it was legal, and there weren't any problems with it whatsoever. And then in 1982 they passed a new law called the Garn St. Germain Federal Depository Institutions Act, and that's what allowed the banks to put the due upon sale clause in the mortgage. And sure enough, that's what took a whole bunch of people out of the game, because we used to just come in and take over other people's loans. It was no big deal. HUD
Wow.
supported it. It was awesome. Well, what I learned was, though, that there was an exception to that law. And the exception is when you place your property in trust for estate planning purposes, the lender is prohibited from calling the loan due. And I went, yeah, baby, that's the ticket right there. So I'm going to go learn about trusts. So
Trust.
sure enough, that's when I started learning about trust, because I knew that I could continue to buy property without going to banks and without qualifying for loans if I only had a way to be able to do that. So, sure enough, I learned what that was all about. I created documents that support it. And to this day, last week, we bought another one by taking over somebody else's loan in their name on their credit report that they
I
paid the
love it.
closing costs for. We
I love
stepped
it.
in, took over that property, and that was the end of it.
No
That's the
credit.
way a lot of people can get started. Here's what's interesting, Chris. I have been in this business over 40 years. I have never been to the bank. I
Wow.
have never qualified for a loan on a single family
Wow.
or small multifamily property ever. So that,
Mm.
because of the blessing that I got way back in the day of finding out that you didn't have to go to banks and you didn't have to qualify for loans. Unlike Aunt Mabel, who went to banks and qualified for loans, right? I was able to go out and take over existing financing. And I went, wait a minute, I don't even have to go to bank. And then the other thing was I learned that I could borrow money, that people had all kinds of idle funds sitting in checkbooks that they were making 0.0% interest on from the bank. And I realized that I could just step in and tell them that I could pay them market rates for their money and put their money to work. Well, they said, yeah, baby, count me in. Well,
What do you
I
call
thought
that, Lou? What am I gonna put that? What am I gonna put for that here? Is that a private? Is that called private money? What is it?
private money financing is a beautiful thing, baby.
Right.
And so I learned that I could have certain words, I could say certain things to people, and all of a sudden they were writing checks for me. And
Magic
so
words.
magic words, exactly right. I call them that too, right? I call them magic words. So you say the magic words, and
So
boom,
it's
people will do all kinds of amazing things for you.
I love
And
it.
and they need you as bad as you need them, and you're actually doing them a favor. That's what I also realized, that I was helping them. I was not
You're
asking for
doing
stuff, I
the
was giving them
there you
something.
go. Changing the way you look at it, right?
Exactly, exactly. It changes everything when you can let people know that you're actually
You're helping
serving them.
them.
You're actually helping them, and they do get it. By the way, it's not like a shift or something like that. It's real,
Mhm.
because hey, you know. The truth of the matter is, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the inflation over the last 20 years is 2.94% per year, right?
Mhm.
So that means that your dollar in January is worth the dollar. By December, it's worth 97 cents. So
Gotcha.
your money is always eroding. And the
Erosion.
only thing that can support that is to make more than 3%. So I always
Mhm.
show people, look, we can pay you more, we can pay you market rates. That's the words we use, market rates. And
Okay.
then I bring them, this is what the banks are paying every Thursday afternoon. They publish in the USA Today, they actually publish what the rates are. So you can bring a real live newspaper to the meeting and you can say,
Mhm.
this is what the banks are paying, even for CDs. Oh my gosh, you could get a 5-year CD. They'll pay you all the way up to 1% for that. and and then I bring them the
Comical.
newspaper. It's beautiful. And then I bring them the newspaper for what the local bank is charging for a mortgage, which though is less than 4%. So
Mhm.
I'm showing them, we'll pay this. The bank's paying you that. We'll pay this, and you don't have to have any drive-through windows, and you don't have to have any tall buildings, and you don't have to have marble on the floor. Listen, we'll pay you the same rates that banks are charging. How does that sound? They
Wow.
love it. They
Wow.
absolutely love it. So we make a presentation to our lenders, and we have a whole process that we go through, so that they can really get who we are and what we do and how we operate. So
Is
we
that a
use,
prospectus that you call it though?
yeah, that's really our presentation
Present. Okay.
process.
Presentation.
And so we've got a presentation process for each element of the business. So the buying side, when I'm talking to sellers, the selling side, when I'm talking to buyers, and the borrowing side, when we're borrowing the money and I'm talking to lenders. But it's always private money, because kind of my motto is, why go to banks if we don't have to? And by the way,
Mhm.
they're a bunch of crooks and they want to steal your property anyway. So
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
I, I can talk to real people, and real people don't want to steal my property.
Mhm.
And I just am that guy that says, look, there's another way to do things, and I'm the kid who took the toys apart and figured out how they were operating and then put them back together. So I've done the same thing with my real estate business, so that I can figure out really what makes it tick and what makes it last. Because that's one of the most important things, is when we jump into this business, hey, this is a serious business here, and people can make a wrong move early in the game and it can take them out of the game. So I'm always playing the game of long term. What do we need to do this business so it's going to be a lasting business that you can actually sell the business? You don't have
Mm.
to worry, because once that business is up and running, once that thing is producing and it's a machine in and of itself on its own, you can sell that machine to somebody else when you're tired.
Wow.
I just I just got a bunch of thoughts all in a row.
Let me ask you, what is some of this? What is the some of the? I want to talk. What has made you last so long? And the little bit of success that I've had from '04. I'm looking at you like you got to have some secrets here, Lewis. No doubt, creative financing is one of them.
What did you tell them about how long you known me?
I didn't, I'm still starstruck as I look at you on the screen. I cannot believe. Remember when I met you? What was it? February?
Nashville. I think we were in Nashville, right?
Nashville.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're really here. I'm like, Lou. So, but I ordered your stuff in 2004. The whole enchilada. It's been
The whole enchilada, baby. It's still in existence. It's doing awesome.
unbelievable. And then I'm using you taught me land trust subject to talking to sellers, talking to buyers, talking to realtors. There's so much stuff that I mean you contributed to your success. I don't know where to start.
Oh man. Well, the fun thing is that I am a big believer in the buy and hold philosophy. Now, that doesn't
Okay.
mean you can't sell some houses along the way and certainly bring some cash into the company. And we got to fund this company. This company's got to be able to pay for its marketing, right? And
Hmm.
so if you can bring some new customers in, the way you do that is to manage that process. So I always say, listen, don't tell the property what it is, listen to the property, let it tell you what it is, because it might make a lot more sense to keep that property than to flip out of that property. And so if I can make that into a long-term residual income property, that's what I'm going to focus on a particular property. Now, if I have to pay high interest, for example, on funding the purchase of that property, then I want to make that a short-term investment. I want to get out of it quickly. But if I can borrow the money by taking over existing financing, for example, like we did last
Hmm.
week, 3.5% loan, really?
Wow.
Okay, take over a 3.5% loan and pay it for the next 25 years. And yeah, and by the way, we've had multiple properties this year go free and clear because I took them over 20 years ago, right?
Hmm.
And we just paid on them every year, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're not making that payment anymore, and all of a sudden your cash flow goes up by
Way up.
hundreds of dollars a month per property, right? Because now you have no debt on that property. And that's my ultimate strategy for people, to get 20 free and clear properties. 20 free and clear properties, pumping out cash flow month after month after month. Listen, if I can help people get to 20 free and clear properties, I know that their life and their legacy is going to be so different, because they're being able to pass that on from generation to generation. Now, another aspect of what we do is we actually go find buyers first. So it's kind of a whole unique conversation around real estate. Instead of focusing on finding the properties that you then have to fix and you then have to sell and you have to find a buyer for, and in the
Mhm.
meantime it gets ripped off and the market changes, and you walk in and your carpet's gone and your water heater's gone, and you go, oh my gosh, I got to do this all again. And see, I learned all that. I've done all of that. I've had all of that happen to me multiple times. And I realized that the biggest mistake I made was not having a customer. So I shifted my business in 2009 when the whole crash burn happened. Listen, I had 10 properties on the market. I had them bought right, bought cheap, fixed up beautifully. People raising their hand, wanted to buy it, put them in the pipeline. Boom. All those loans fail, 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 fail. And I said, whoa, slow this car down. I said, there is something wrong with this picture. And I stepped back from my business and I said, you know what? You've never had a problem selling. You've always had you never had a problem buying. You've always had a problem somewhere or another in the sales process. So
Mhm.
what if we turn our business on the ear and we go find our buyers first? So I
Mhm.
created a program. We call it the Path to Home Ownership, where we help deserving families, regardless of credit or financial background, to end up with home ownership.
I
And
love it.
because of the Path to Home Ownership, the people join the membership, and now I've got an inventory of customers instead of an inventory of houses that I have to
Wow.
move. And these are good
Wow.
people too. So when we put them in the membership, We look at their credit. We find out it's less than perfect, which only 80% of America has less than perfect credit. So it's a huge market, right? And so what we found is we can put them into a nonprofit organization that we have a relationship with, and only for $89 a month, they work on their credit and do an awesome job. And we've been with them 4 years. We're very thoroughly impressed with the work that they do. And so our folks go into the credit restoration. Meanwhile, we go find a house for them. Now,
Mm,
here's the other shift in people's thinking. We used to do all the fix up. Well, now our buyers do some or all of the repairs to the home, and we give them credit towards their down payment for taking on some or all of the repairs. Well, who doesn't want to move into a house and change the colors on the wall? Why
mm,
do your beige walls attract anybody? They don't. People want to do their own thing. That's why Home Depot has like 4,000 colors, right? So
yeah.
people want to do, oh, look at that one. Oh, look at that. And they want to do every room a different color. We let them, hey, honey, whatever you want to do, this is your home. You can do it. Mortgage company don't get involved with telling people what colors they're going to put on their walls or what kind of carpet they're going to put in the house. See,
Mm,
think like a bank, guys. Think like a bank. Let the customer do what the customer wants to do. We got to qualify them now. They got to be able to afford this property. We're going to put them on the right path. We're not going to set them up for failure. We're going to set them up for success. And when we do that, your business will be blessed. You'll have an amazing number of people. They'll bring you their friends. It's just an awesome pipeline. And
mm.
so I teach people now, Chris, the path to home ownership.
Okay.
And it's just a fun process. So here's the interesting thing. We can buy properties better and easier by telling our sellers what we're going to do with the house on our path to home ownership. So the sellers then get involved in wanting to sell us the house, because their house that they raised their kids and they got the dogs buried in the backyard and all of that, they they want to give us that house so we can help a deserving family end up with home ownership. So people tell me all the time, look, somebody else offered us more money, but we like your program. So because of that, we're able to now take another path with
Wow.
folks, and
They
it is
like
so
your
much fun.
program. I
Oh
love it.
yeah, baby, it's
I love it.
beautiful. And so we come in with branding, because one of the things that investors miss is credibility, right? Why should anybody do business with you, right? Who
That's
are
right.
you that makes them think that you're worthy of carrying back seller financing or taking over their existing financing? What makes them think you're going to make the payments, right?
That's right.
So what we do is come in full loaded, branded. See, I'm a certified affordable housing provider. It's all
Hmm.
nice there. Even when I'm wearing a T-shirt in Home Depot, see, I got we buy houses. I got we buy houses. But on the other side, it says certified affordable housing provider. Ask me
Oh my
how,
goodness.
right? And so that gets people's attention. And
Mhm.
and when we're talking to a potential buyer, we give them our book called Never Pay Rent Again: The Path to Home Ownership. So
Mhm.
when we're talking to someone who wants to buy a property from us, we want to educate them on how to buy a house right, how to buy it with financing, and how to get themselves mortgageable, how to clean up credit issues and things like that. So that's
Gotcha.
what that book does. But when I go visit with a seller, I got a different book. It's called Doing Good While Doing Well. We're going to give all your folks a free copy of this. But
Yep.
the cool
Links
the
below.
cool thing is that doing good while doing well is what it's all about. Because when I go visit with a seller and I talked about that presentation process, the
Mhm.
presentation begins with giving them our book. We have a chapter in here, and in fact, we have licensees from all over the country that have chapters in the book. All of my
Wow.
licensees can have a chapter, right? And so
Gotcha.
what happens is, from credibility standpoint, see, you have to think about who you're being. I know I got a few plans before I go in to talk with the seller. Number one, I am not going to the bank and I am not qualifying for a loan. so so creative
Wow.
financing, that first thing on that list, is absolutely the game.
Say
And
that
we
again, Lou,
are
because some people
we
might thinking you might have. I mean, how could some people like how in the hell you even? I mean, obviously we know, but I mean, I want to make sure people's mindset has to change.
well, that's true. I mean, the thing is that my mindset is exactly what I said from a
Not
creative
going to the
standpoint.
bank. Wow.
I'm not going to the bank and I'm not qualifying for a loan. So that's a given before
Wow.
I'm ever stop stepping into a deal. And so, I've got one thing I've developed over the years is 37 different ways to structure a deal. So when I go in, I ain't planning to leave until I got a deal.
Wow.
So okay, that doesn't work. Well, I got another one. That doesn't work. Well, I got another one. So we're planning to. In
I
fact, I
love
come
this.
to the table. That is it.
I
I'm
mean, I
not
love
going
it.
to the
Most
bank.
people,
I'm
it's
not
like the
qualifying
opposite.
for a
Most
loan.
people are like, I'm going to the bank and I'm going to qualify. I mean, that's almost like a burst thinking that you have, Lou.
That's right. Well, we call that's not the street smart way of doing business. That's the name of my company, is Street Smart. And I say, listen, that's not street smart. Street smart is talking to the people and solving their problems,
Hmm.
looking at their situation, identifying what their pain is, like a doctor. So I think like a doctor when I'm talking to them, first thing on the phone, we have a whole seller questionnaire process. And the first thing I want to do is I want to identify that pain, just like the doctor does. When you go, where does it hurt, right? Where does it hurt? So I want to identify the pain. Now, once I identify the pain, I am going to prescribe a solution. I am going to absolutely give them prescription to get rid of that pain. Now, it's up to them whether they're going to accept that drug or not.
Hmm.
But that drug might involve them have taken a little pain right now in terms of discounting their property, but they are going to be able to get rid of their pain. And that's the cool thing about our process that's different than listing a property with a real estate agent, because, hey, they're going to have that property on the market for God knows how long. The market might change while they're on it, and people can steal things, and it's just a whole nightmare when you put your property on the market. If you ever thought about it, we're giving a real estate agent the option to sell our property with no consideration, right? So we actually
Nothing.
give the realtor the option to sell. Geez, thank you a lot. And they may or they may not do a good job marketing that property, and we may be sitting 6 months from now with that
Hmm.
same property wanting to get it moved. Well, we look at it differently. We say, we already, before we ever buy that property, we already have in the hopper a buyer.
Hmm.
And so as soon as we get that property under contract, I'm bringing my buyer over there.
Wow.
Sometimes we even have an open house. We just did one this past weekend. We have an open house and invite all of our potential buyers in there, and they and we auction off the down payment. So they bid against each other for the down payment on the property.
Hmm.
And then the winner gets all, they get the property, but then the other folks, we now go about finding them a property. So
Wow.
it's something that it's part of our service oriented program where they're on the path to home ownership, and they really can't go any other place, right? Because the real estate agents, they don't want to talk to anybody with bad credit. They say,
Hmm.
honey, go get good credit, come back and
Come
see
back and
me when
talk
you
to me. Come back. Oh, this is
when
what
you
they
get
say.
good credit, I'll sell you a house. And
Where's
we're
your
saying,
pre-approval letter?
exactly. Don't even talk to me if you ain't got a pre-approval letter, right? And we tell agents that. We say, listen, I only thing I want from you is your leftovers.
Wow.
Everybody that you can't serve,
It's so
send them this
crazy.
way. I'm going to pay you for those folks when they move into one of my property. I'm going to pay you for that, and I'll bring them back to you when they get good enough credit, good enough down payment. So we'll even give them a commission on the back end when they bring
Wow.
us people on the front end. So we love working with real estate agents, mortgage brokers, insurance people. These are all lead flows for us.
Hmm. Lou, we already do. We've been on here 30 minutes, Lou. So much. I feel like I just turned on a fire hydrant. Or just
You did.
we got to get to your training. I want my Roundup family. Roundup family, thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, I'm Chris Haskins. My guest today is Lou Brown. Uh, a master. I don't even know how it can. The man has seen no doubt every kind of deal. Lou, let me ask you: have you ever seen the bank come in and call a loan on the subject too? Have
Oh,
you seen that happen?
absolutely. I've helped my people through situations like that where the bank does call loans due. They do that because they did something stupid like putting it in an LLC or a corporation or putting it in their personal name. Lenders will absolutely call that loan due.
Mm,
Now, on the other hand, when that property is put into trust, the lender is prohibited from calling due. And we've had them try and dance and do all kinds of things, and we've been able to stop them dead. I've never lost a property on a subject to when it was done right to begin with. See, it does matter what the paperwork is, guys. I'm going to really be honest with you about paperwork. Paperwork is a critical piece of your puzzle. And Chris, you were smart enough. 2004, you bought my whole enchilada, right? So
mhm.
you jumped all the way in. So you
I
said,
did.
"Yeah, baby, I am in this game
I
for
did.
good," and that was a brilliant move. And so, as a result, now you took the game of the paperwork and you understood it, you embraced it. That's one of the things that I teach people at the Millionaire Jumpstart is listen, you got to do this right because when you do it right, you can never lose. It's when you do it wrong that you get yourself in a position. And I say, you can make a wrong move early in the game and it can take you out of the game. So we want to help you and protect you from making the wrong move and getting
Nice.
yourself in a position that takes you out of the game because this is too good of a game to get taken out of. That's
You
for sure.
Lou. Okay, let's finish. We'll do a quick before we get to Q&A. Roundup family, I'm going to finish a few more questions with Lou. Then we'll get to Q&A. Please make sure you get your questions ready for the man, my mentor, Lou Brown. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me about the training. Oh, Roundup family, the link below. Get that free book. Lou is going to give it away. I mean, I think it's a good book down there. It's
Do,
two. Is it
do,
two links?
Doing Good book / Chris.
Yeah, the
You
link's down there.
click on that and it'll take you to getdoinggoodbook.com and that will take you to Chris's link and you'll get to download the book for free. You don't have
Yeah.
to pay for it. How cool is that?
And yeah, you got this training coming up in August. Also, Roundup family, we've got a link for you to take a look at that in the video description. Lou, tell me a little bit about that, please.
Oh man, so that's my millionaire jumpstart, and
Millionaire Jumpstart.
if you think this was a capsule version of it, it's exactly what it was.
Okay.
This little 30 minutes that we had is going to be spread out over 3 days, and I'm actually going to give a whole manual to everybody that comes. And so, in fact, I was just working on it. This is the Millionaire Jumpstart manual that everybody gets when they come to the Jumpstart, and it's chock full of forms. And I'm kind of known as the forms guy, right,
I
Chris?
love it. I
So
love it. I
I'm the
love it.
forms guy. I got the stuff, and I walk you through an entire presentation so you're able to see how we get the leads in the first place, and then what we do once we get the leads, what questions we ask, how we say it to the sellers, the magic words, like you said. What are the magic words? The magic words, because once we say the right things to sellers, they will do amazing things.
They sure
And
will, Lou.
remember, I've never been to the bank and I've never qualified for a loan.
Yeah,
And when I can give people that path, I love to give other people that
feels
path too,
good, right?
because the thing is that if I can keep you out of the bank, I can keep you in safety, right? Because
Hmm.
I happen to know some things, and I happen to know some things about banks and what they're really up to, and I just want to keep as many people safe as I can.
Wow.
And so the idea is you got to control your own destiny. You got to
Yeah.
control your own opportunities. And banks will cut you off in a minute. They'll pull your credit lines. They will
Yep.
do all kinds of things when they quote unquote feel that they are not safe. And they look at your portfolio. They put wrap mortgages over everything you've got, what they
Yep.
call blanket loans, and they can
Jumbo.
call that whole loan and take all your property. I've
I've
watched
been
it
there.
happen
I've
too
been
many
there.
times. You've
I've
been
been
there,
there.
so
Yeah, I've
you even
walked. Yeah,
understand what I'm talking about.
they say
I,
when did the light turn on for you, Lou? About because even today I have to almost like cram it down my coaching clients' brains to stop doing all these repair, stop making all these houses beautiful, doing all the repairs to it. When did you come to that realization?
2009 when the crash happened, and I had all them fixed up properties on the market and I couldn't sell them. And I had
Yeah.
a whole bunch of cash in those properties. And I said,
Mhm.
you know what? You dumb, you've been in this business all these years and you keep saying to yourself, you don't have problems when you buy, you only have problems when you sell. Why don't you change that and start going and getting customers? And so
Mm.
I created then during that time here in Atlanta, Johnny Isaacson is our senator from Georgia. Well, what people don't know about his background is he used to own 20 Northside Realty offices in and around Atlanta. So he's
Wow.
totally real estate, right? Mr. Real Estate. And
Mhm.
in Congress, he proposed under the Obama administration, he proposed the $8,000 first time home buyer
Gotcha.
program, which was a game changer. So I went to all of my students. I said, man, sell everything you got to the people that live in the house. Get them $8,000 from every one of your properties right now. You got to take advantage of this program. It's an awesome program. And
Nice.
it was, and it
Yeah, I
did
remember
work.
that. We sold a lot of
And
houses at that time.
yeah, baby. So I created back then it was called the Obama Bucks, but then I
Mm.
changed it to the Uncle Sam Bucks because after the program expired, I went, wait a minute, there's still a whole bunch of government programs out there that can help our buyers get housing. So we help our buyers in a number of ways. One is their own personal cash. Secondly, is their work for credit, where they do some or all of the repairs to the property.
That's my field.
Third is any government programs that we can help bring to the table. So I
Mhm.
teach people that we're going to be doing that at Millionaire Jumpstart too. So they're going to learn how to actually build an inventory of buyers. And then I'm going to show them the marketing of what we do and how we do it to attract those folks.
Nice.
And then how we monetize. This is important, how we monetize those folks now. Because you know, the challenge with real estate is you typically don't get paid until later or much
Mhm.
later or sometimes never.
Later, much later, or never. Very true.
so we say, wait a minute, we got to get paid now. We got a
Mhm.
customer now. Let's get paid now, and let's
Gotcha.
start building our cash flow from the very beginning of our relationship with these folks. Which, by the way, now they've got skin in the game. They're more committed to you. They're more committed to your program. We have a whole membership that they join, and then once they join that membership, we go about finding a property that's
I love it.
customized to purchase
Love it.
just for them. So I teach that to folks. And then when we're purchasing that property, our whole presentation process, giving the seller the book and how we have a whole presentation that we do with sellers. They love it, they get it, and that's why our close ratio is so through the roof
I can
with
imagine.
our sellers, is because of that presentation process. So I'm going to focus on all three areas of the business: the buying side, the selling side, and the holding.
Holding.
And the holding the properties, which is the great residual income cash flow machine.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is protecting all that you create, because you got to learn about trust, land trust, personal
Mhm.
property trust. And so I'm going to be doing that during the event as well. So this is going to be a 3 full days, guys. Don't plan to to go out at night either, because we're going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to go to about 7:30 at night. So this is real training on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in August in Baltimore. So, guys, once you join me for Millionaire Jumpstart, then I'm going to take you through the whole process of
I
how
love
we
it.
buy the
I
properties
love it.
right, how we buy them cheap, and the whole thing. Go ahead and ask me some questions.
Hold on. It says my link. The link's not working. Let me see if I can get this thing. I just went there.
Yeah, the link
No,
was working a minute ago.
no.
Should be. And
Yeah,
now
it's
they might
working.
be.
It's
Okay, it's
working.
working
Okay.
great.
Lou, I want to ask you. I know a lot of times we have this tainted vision of success or freedom, financial freedom, and you said 20 houses. I love this because it seems attainable and it doesn't seem like, we all think we need to be a millionaire or have several $1 million in the bank, and that's such not true regarding the typical American's lifestyle.
Exactly. In fact, when they come to Jumpstart, I've actually got a wall there of people holding up their sign that says, "I got my 20, I got my 20." And
Oh
then
wow.
some of them are marked through and says, "I got my 28, I got my 34, I got my
Oh my
46,
Lord, really?
I got my 88." They've got all kinds of different people there from all walks of life too. Our program attracts everybody, and it's
So
really
cool.
very, very cool. Very, very cool. And so when people see that they can come in with credibility and talk to a seller and have a script and know what to say and know how to say it, there's a lot of comfort that comes with that too, because then people can say, yeah, I'm not just me, I'm part of a nationwide network of affordable
Mhm.
housing providers. And it's absolutely true. And you're proving it with your book too. You're saying, look, I'm not alone in this. I'm part of a
Wow.
nationwide network of affordable housing providers. So it makes it much more
Affordable
powerful when
housing.
we're talking to sellers, because remember, I ain't going to banks and I ain't qualifying for loans.
Wow.
So I got to have a lot of credibility when I go talk with those folks. But the truth of the matter is, they don't have any problem with it when they've got that comfort level.
Yeah. Affordable. I hear you say affordable housing. That's kind of like. I mean, I feel like that's the world that I have been living in. Affordable housing.
It is it. And you are an affordable housing provider if you really think about it. Look, guys, look, we are the we are great people. We change communities, we change lives. But do you know what? We don't get credit for that because
Mhm.
we walk around with this label called real estate investor. Do you know what people think when they hear the words real estate investor? It ain't pretty.
Greedy. Yeah. Greedy.
Lying, cheating, stealing, money grubbing, good for nothing. That's what they think. And you're
They
going,
do.
oh, welcome to my profession. And now, so no, we got to back up and really identify who we really are. Now, who are we? So we take abandoned and dilapidated properties, we restore them by hiring people locally, by buying supplies locally, by putting properties back on the tax rolls, by
Mhm.
paying back taxes on properties,
Wow.
reinstating loans, helping people that are in distress, helping them to reset their lives. Really, we're helping deserving families end up with home ownership. We're helping the local schools by enrolling kids into those schools, keeping
Wow.
them viable. I mean, we are the foundation of a solid community, but we don't get credit for that. So
Mhm.
I founded National RIA back in 1993. So that's the National Real Estate Investors Association. We're over 40,000 members now. And if you think about it, one of the reasons that I founded it is because I wanted to change that paradigm of real estate investor. And now I've identified it's affordable housing provider.
I love
And
that.
then I now offer the certified affordable housing provider program. So now people can really attain a trained process. Now, you happen to be right there in Baltimore, D.C., and I have been there twice this year already, meeting with members of Congress
Wow.
and meeting with members of the administration about our program. Because guess what? Government is sitting with a whole bunch of properties. And
Mhm.
one of the things that they want to accomplish is to help deserving families end up with home ownership. So we entrepreneurs, we can solve the America housing crisis by being who we are. But we
Mhm.
got to bring a bigger message. There's got to be a bunch of boots on the ground. There's a lot of us that can do this. There's a lot of
Wow.
us that are doing this. So we bring this all together under the umbrella. We all work together. We can make some amazing things happen. I
Yes.
absolutely want to work with you on doing this because we make differences in our communities, Chris.
We do, friend. We do. So let's get to it's 2:45. We're going to go to some Q&A in a minute, but the link
Great.
real fast. We already talked about if you want to register. What are the dates for that training in Baltimore? With the link in the video description, Lou.
All right, so that's August 16, 17, 18, millionairejumpstart.com/Chris. All right,
The
so
link
that's
is in there.
August
Yeah.
16 through 18, millionairejumpstart.com/Chris, KRIS.
Yep, and we're gonna well they don't even have to go there. Just the link is right in the video description. You can see it right in there, Roundup family. You can
Yeah,
go there
baby.
or go to either one. Lou, I'm honored to be with you and I'm glad you're still doing this, man. I mean, you're buying and selling houses and still teaching. I mean, when did you even start you did the business. When did you
Yeah.
start teaching this stuff?
You know what? I started teaching in 1987. I was a board member.
Lord.
I was a board member of our local RIA, Georgia Real Estate Investors Association, and they said, "Lou, you've been so successful in real estate. Would you teach a class for us?" Now, this is back in the day when they didn't have all these classes and anything, and I said,
No internet.
"Who me?" I was like, "Who me?" And they
Hmm.
said, "Yeah." And so I did this half day class. It was wildly successful. They said, "Okay, we want you to do that again." So then pretty soon it became every month I was teaching a class for the RIA. And
Wow.
one month it was on negotiations, next month on lease options, next month on owner financing, next month on renovations, next month on
Mm,
on purchasing properties, on selling
wow.
properties, on paperwork, the whole thing. So that's where my whole enchilada came from, was teaching all of these different classes for my local RIA and
Mm,
having to dig down and build my own business. And it caused me to do things I would have never done myself. It caused me to create documents and
get better.
oh, it moved
Makes you
me
get better,
to
right?
it.
Training makes you
Oh,
get better.
it absolutely does. It's no question. And one of the cool things is I also during that time bought a franchise. I bought a Holiday Inn franchise. Now
Okay.
I didn't know ding about dong about the hotel business. And here I was able to step in. They had the operations manuals, they had the tools, they had the training, they had the
Mhm.
system, they had everything. I was able to walk in. Within 1 year, my competitor in town came in and bought our hotel, and they said, "You are killing us. We're going to buy you," and
Wow.
we made a $500,000 profit. And I got it right then. I said, "You know what? It's because of that franchise. It's because of that branding. It's because of what we were able to do in such a short period of time." They cut out all the typical buildup of a business. They just cut it out because of
Mhm.
that brand, because of that system. So I said, I'm going to build my business the same way. And that's now what I provide to my licensees, is giving them a complete branded system that's like a franchise, but without the cost.
Gotcha. Wow.
It's a
Mm.
beautiful thing.
Roundup family, thank you for joining us. If you want to join Lou in Baltimore, August 16th through 18th, please click the link below and download Lou's book. It's free, and the book is in the link below. Also, both links. We'll get to some Q&A, and I'm not sure we can get to all of these here. If you want to guarantee your question coming in, you can do the super chat if you don't mind. Daniel, I see you're already here. Thank you so much for your love offering, my friend. We got a question here. Creative financing. Lou, did you create? I feel like you are like one of the creators of like Subject to and
Yep.
Zuzu's crap.
Well, it's true because back in the day, remember where I came from. I came from NENQ World. I came from $45 and you took over somebody else's loan and it was on the
Gotcha.
table. Anybody
Gotcha.
could do that. They took it away from us. The banks that I don't love, they came in with their lobbyists and they bribed a couple of senators named Garn and St. Germain to create that law called the Garn St. Germain Federal Depository Institutions Act of
Hmm.
1982. And when they passed that act, that's what had the due upon sale clause in that gave the banks the right to put that in the mortgage. So I said, okay, well, let me read this thing. Well, sure enough, 1703 JD81, I found the exception. You see, because these senators and congressmen, they want their own little gig, right? So
Hmm.
so they got to have their little carve out because they didn't want their own loan to be called because they know about a thing called trusts. So they said, well, wait a minute now. Whenever somebody places their property in trust for estate planning purposes, the
Hmm.
lender is prohibited from calling the loan due. I went, aha. So I need to go become an expert in trust. That's what I did. I flew all over the country. I met with 20 different attorneys. I
Good
developed
Lord.
paperwork. I got this thing dialed in because I had that game of not going to banks and not qualifying for loans. I was dialed into that from 18 years old, right? So
Wow.
I said, I don't want to do that. I want to figure out another way, and that's me. That's I like to come up with unique and creative ways to make things happen the right way, and not taking advantage of anybody, but actually doing it the right way. And so, sure enough, I found out that there was a path we could take and that we could help sellers plan their estate by
Gotcha.
placing their property into trust, and therefore us being able to take over the beneficial interest of that trust, which is not published anywhere on public record. And so, therefore, we were able to control the property without having an issue of having the lender call the loan due. By the way, everybody, are we helping the banks when we reinstate loans? Are we
Yes.
helping the banks when we make payments on loans? Are we helping the seller when we make payments on loans? And you know
Mhm.
that the house we bought last week, that was the situation. And the lady said she was so thrilled that now we would actually be restoring her son's credit. She had the power of attorney for her son, and his of course, they hadn't made payments in many months. We
Mhm.
reinstated the loan, and we're making payments monthly. Well, as a result, what that will do for his credit is he'll have a totally restored credit report, and
Yes.
so over time, so
Back to
we're
current.
we're helping banks, we're helping sellers, we're
Mhm.
helping buyers because now we can help more properties to help more people end up with home ownership. So that's kind of like our big mission right there.
It's so ironic because as I listen to you, my mind is going to my HGTV, flip this house, flip that house, property renovations, all that crap. And I'm like, I think people look at that. Even I have to watch it too because my wife loves this crap. But they look at it, and I'm like, Lou, I don't even know if that is the real estate business. I mean,
It's not.
you-
That's a job. That's a job. Flipping houses is a job that has no future because now you
Mhm.
got to start over again. You got to do the same thing again. You got to start over again. You got to go find another property. You got to find another contractor
Oh
to do.
Lord,
You got them contractors will put you out of the game, man.
yep.
I did 26 houses in one neighborhood.
Mhm.
When they used to call me in Atlanta, Mr. Kirkwood.
Mr.
I had
Kirkwood. What?
26 houses in the same neighborhood at one time, and it was really great. But the other side of that was it drove me out of renovations. It's like, don't do this, don't do this is crazy. And the other side of it was I realized that I was really playing a different game. You want to play the residual income game, guys. And the thing is, on them flipping houses, I say don't be a flipping idiot
Mhm.
because
Got a hold
if
of 'em, Lou.
if you are flipping them houses, understand you got a partner in every one of those deals called Uncle Sam
Man,
because you got short-term capital gains and they are relentless
he's
with those
coming.
short-term capital gains. They want to say, "Yeah, baby, thank you for working for us." But now contrast that with what they do. They bribe us to hold properties long term by giving us this wonderful thing called depreciation.
Depreciation.
So we get to take that depreciation and offset the ones that do sell and put ourselves in a position to zero out our taxes. And now we get to elevate our energy. We get to take advantage and get a return on our energy that's higher than it would be if we were flipping properties.
I love it, Lou. Well, I once again, I'm looking at you, the picture of you, and I guess the character that's in front of my screen is not the normal what we would think. People think that flipping houses is where it's at, you know. And I remember the veterans when I was coming in, they were like, "Man, you need to hold." I didn't quite understand it, you know. I just didn't grasp it till I had some years in.
Well, imagine you had a couple of hundred residents and that your average rent was $1,000 a month and a bunch of them properties were free and clear.
Hmm.
What does life look like after some time has passed and those residents that are living in those properties give you payments that you use to pay down and pay down and pay off the debt? And you put yourselves in a position to have those free and clear properties I was talking about earlier. And
Yes.
then you're set. not only for your life, but for your children's life and for the
Mm,
grandchildren's life, because you've got assets. And see, assets are the keys to the kingdom. That's
mhm.
the guarantee of a future when you got those assets, particularly in trust, because
Yes.
the trust will protect you and your family, because there is no probate with a trust. And
Oh
so
man.
once you learn this process of passing down assets and dynasty from generation to generation,
Oh my
now
Lord.
you see how wealth is built. See, wealth is different than rich. Rich is a temporary situation, wealth is permanent, and it goes
Uh-huh.
on for generations. So everybody has the opportunity to do the same thing. Now, what we do is we become the bank for our clients. We don't call them tenants, we call them clients. Our clients moving into our
Mm,
home on the path to home ownership, then we become the bank for our clients. So now giving them the opportunity to have a whole different life than the one that they've got, right? And then they love us for it. And by the way, they can't
I like
qualify at a
that.
traditional bank either.
I like
Um,
that.
so we're in a position now to help a whole bunch of people. And by
Mm.
the way, the ones that have good credit, we want to serve them too. so so most real estate investors are chasing 20% of the market. That's the people that actually have good enough credit and good enough down payment to qualify for a loan. We're chasing 100% of the market, because we'll take anybody
Yeah.
regardless of credit or financial background, and help give them an
Nice.
opportunity at home ownership.
Okay, Roundup family, we've been on here for an hour. I don't see, man, I see mostly comments over here, Lou. But you're doing, are you doing, let me ask you, are you more doing owner financing, lease options, or where are you at?
Well, you see, that's the beauty of the path to home ownership, is that anybody can enter our program at any level, even a
Right.
VIP, what we call house on layaway program. So they can, they, so they can even jump in and start laying away the house by giving us payments every pay period. Now that
Right.
helps your cash flow, and see, it helps them build up their down payment. And so
That's
we
awesome.
have rent to own, owner finance, cash sale. And in our program, it's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. We even give
Nice.
them a certificate with their name on it to identify the level that they've achieved. And
Nice.
our paperwork is wired to help them move up the path to home ownership. So they have down payment money. They have they have a situation where either they can do some work, they have some money, whatever the case may be. We put them into the credit restoration, and then we go find a house that matches their situation.
I
We might
love
have
that.
it in inventory, or we might have to go resource a property, which I teach as well.
So, what do you see? I know Daniel has asked here. What do you see? I mean, I love talking to you. I feel like I'm talking to a time traveler.
That's
Seen
true.
the, you seen the,
Decades.
you seen the business do like this.
Mhm.
Where's your gut telling you we're at regarding regarding another downturn, regarding another
Well, it's a
upswing?
very fair question right now. This is my fourth real estate cycle, so I've definitely lived it.
Wow. Shit.
I definitely know what it looks like.
Mhm.
And right now, we're seeing, I just, one of my platinum coaching clients just reported to me yesterday, he saw a property drop $200,000. Now, I had seen $50,000 drops in California. That's usually where it starts. And
Mhm.
so we're starting to see the shifting sands in
Right now.
California. We're starting to see the drops and the drops, and see
Mm.
where they had multiple offers. Now it's boom. Where did all the buyers go? And it's all related to that thing called interest, guys. It's all related to interest. When I saw that the Federal Reserve, as soon as Trump came into office, they started bumping that interest rate, bumping that interest rate, bumping that
Mhm.
interest rate. Well, what does that do? That this it doesn't change. The same people are in the market with the same money.
Same
That
stuff. Yeah.
doesn't change. What does change is the price of the
They
home
can buy.
has to come down to find
Look
that
at the
market
buyer.
that's actually sitting there, you see. So when the interest rate goes up, the payment that they can make stays the same. So the interest rate goes up, the price comes down to match that payment that they can make. So I've learned this process, and so we're going into that phase now where we're going to see prices drop, which is good for us, right? And
Yep.
also we're going to see longevity. So that makes sellers what? Nervous. That makes them hold their properties longer. That makes them want to do business with people like us, creative financing, that makes them want to do business with us even more, because we're not competing against all these buyers with multiple offers anymore. They're going like, please come see me. Please come by my house.
I have
I
never
need to
yeah,
be
done.
out of here, baby.
I'm trying to remember all my lease options. I'm like, look at the house if you like it. I mean, this because the qualifications are so down payment. I'm looking for a down payment. So, you have so many different programs or people. I heard you say something about put a house on a layaway. That's just genius. They can make payments on that stuff. But
Exactly. They love it too. They love it too because there's smart people out there. There's people that want a
hmm
better life
good
than the
people
one
too.
they've got.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "You know what? I am ready to have a different life. I am sick and tired of these apartments that I live in. I am sick and tired of these people overhead and all their dogs barking and everything else. I want my
hmm
own scene." And so they come to us and they say, "Look, here's what I do. Here's what I can bring to the table. Here's what my qualifications are." And we ask them all these questions. We have all the forms, and then we discover who they are. We tell them which program they actually qualify for, and then we place them into that program. And then we go about finding a property to match their situation.
Lou Brown, wow, this has been an honor, class. Roundup class. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Lou, before I get you out of here, Roundup family, make sure you take a few seconds, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know next time we'll be on live. I'm probably going to be broadcasting every day this week because it's a holiday and I haven't talked to you in a while. Lou, August 16th, Baltimore. Go to the link below. You're going to get to meet Lou live.
I'm the teacher. Nobody else. I'm the teacher. I'm the
You're
one
not
that's
going
going
to do
to
like
take you
Tim
through
Merrill.
step by.
You're not going to do
No,
like
that ain't me.
you're not
I'm
going
just I'm old school. I love the people that I'm teaching. I'm not
you
there to
really
milk
do.
the cow. I'm there to teach them how to build a business. And I love this business. I don't think there's anything that the average person could ever do that could make the kind of money that this business can make and does make. We've
Mhm.
helped many, many people become multimillionaires. You'll meet some of them there.
I
In
mean, look at
fact,
it. Yeah, help me.
already on my you too, baby. Exactly, exactly. You're a great example. From 2004, you've had my whole enchilada and made millions with it. It's a beautiful thing, and I
Yes,
love for
sir.
more people to have it too. And the thing is, when people join me, then we're going to take them step by step, soup to nuts, through the entire business model so they can see for themselves exactly how it works. We're going to have a lot of folks in our Baltimore, D.C. metro area that are already certified affordable housing provider. They're going to be there. You can meet them. You can talk to
Nice.
them about their businesses. It's a beautiful
Wow.
thing.
Cool.
Yeah,
Lou,
baby.
thank you so much. And the links below, if you have any questions, just email us or you can find out. They can get in touch with you through that link as well. Also, Lou, if they have any questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's
Love
get out of here.
love to help. Yeah. Yeah,
All
baby.
right. Talk to you soon, Lou. Thank you, brother.
You're awesome. Take
All right.
care.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Roundup family. This has been an honor. Let me get Lou out of here, then we'll close it out. I'm going to be coming live to you probably every night this week because no doubt, first of all, I love you. And by now, you know that I care about you. So, Lou is one of the guys that taught me this land trust stuff. I'm thinking about God. I can't even remember how I met him or how I came across him, but I got all these docs and that's when I learned land trust. No, I didn't implement it at that time because I'm like, I ain't doing this land trust crap. I didn't have anything, so I didn't do it at that time. I kept listening, kept listening, kept listening. So now that we know how to do this land trust stuff, I'm able to give it back to you. So join. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go, but I am leaning towards going. I'm already gonna be up there also, but I think I'm gonna actually go myself. The link in the video description. Make sure you register, and it's not even a lot. I think the lowest one is 99 bucks or something like that. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel. Take a second, focus, subscribe, hit the like button, thumbs up, comment. What kind of trainings or tell me a little bit about your business, what you're doing in this business. Because I hear Lou talk about subject to and lease options. That's what we're doing. I like to know what you guys are doing. Roundup family, I love you. I'll see you soon. Matter of fact, I'll be live. I'm gonna do my best to come live tonight. I've got Eddie on Wednesday at 2. And I have a secret for you. Oh, in Jesus, I got a secret for you. Something's coming up for the 4th of July. It's going to blow your mind. I'm going to announce it tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm going to blow your mind with this one. It's not my stuff, but I got Something for you don't want to miss. I'm gonna see you tonight at 9 o'clock. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, round of family. Peace.